What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Dairyland Drive podcast. Collin, Mike, Riley, recording this on a Monday, first Monday that we've done in a while, and it's Victory Monday. I know the Packers played all the way back on Thursday, which seemed like a while ago, but we're going to break that all down. They get the first sweep over the Lions, and it's been a little bit in two dominating performances week one at Lambeau Field, and then in Detroit on Thanksgiving. We were talking briefly before this. I know Riley just made a little comment, but this is what I was going to start off with. Just top to bottom in every facet of the game, offense, defense, special teams, playing complementary football. This has to be the best the Packers have, I think, played overall since week one, week two. Would you guys agree with that, or what would you kind of take away from this dominating win over the Lions on the road?
I don't know about top to bottom. I felt like the defense wasn't great. Felt like they kept letting Detroit kind of keep creeping back into it every time Green Bay would score. But that being said, the offense actually looked like it had some life pretty consistently the whole game, which is great to see. A little bit more coming up later about possibly a new addition or a player coming back potentially this week. We'll get to talking about that. That could add some juice to the offense. But yeah, solid performance all the way around on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think besides, like, I would say the defense struggling in the second and third quarter there, and we were texting during the game on Thanksgiving, and I just attributed it all to the pass rush just died for whatever reasons, or it was just basically Micah Parsons wasn't getting pressure. Like, I still don't know where Rashawn Gary's at. That's an issue that needs to some other DN. I mean, Enoch Barre looks like he's the number 2 right now, so I'm assuming that's why he's getting so many snaps, but that's another issue. But first and fourth quarter, Parsons was unblockable, and that's what they needed a defense. But offensively, yeah, it was nice that it was nice that LaFleur decided to just like call an NFL offense, and just I guess who would have thought this new signing Dontavian Wicks this week would have just fucking went off like that? No, we didn't. Who knows where this guy came from? Took a shot to Christian Watson. Guess what? He caught it for a touchdown, and what I've been bitching about since week 3, like, just fucking, can we throw like our guys the ball and like give them at least 1 or 2 chances of the game? And actually did that. And then just the aggressive shit on fourth down. I don't know if you love it or hate it. Some of it was whatever, but it worked out. The last one won the game, ran the clock out. So I don't know. It was a great sign. Happy with it. Like, but it just pisses me off because it's like, why does he only do this against like division opponents? It seems like, why does he? That thing to me is just still mind boggling of like why he only does this against the 6 games that we have a division game. So I don't know. I don't get that part of it, but very bright to see that it is possible that he can LaFleur can turn it on and let Love just kind of sling it. Also, Anthony Belton still does not look super comfortable in pass blocking. His depth is still a little bit off, but like, who would have thought? I mean, we've been only saying it since fucking the beginning of May. Like, he's obviously a really good run blocker, and shocker, the run game has been better in the game and 3 quarters that he's been at right guard. So also a great sign.
Yeah, starting to see a little cohesion, I think, from that starting 5 on the offensive line now. These last couple games, slowly getting there. I know the new starters of Belton at right guard, then Ryan moving to center, but I don't know. They held up. I mean, I know Jordan Love was pressured, but he didn't get sacked. I don't believe the entire game, and that's a pretty decent pass rush and one of the best in Aiden Hutchinson, which Zach Tom looked really good again. But yeah, the one thing I noticed, I wanted to look at like the personnel charts after the game just to kind of see where majority of was. A lot of 11, I think, was the big one. I think he's finally starting to realize that yes, his tight ends are not very good. We saw Kennard back in some obvious run stuff, and even some mass protect, or an extra offensive lineman to protect. But yeah, I mean, it looks smooth. I think from start to finish for the most part. I thought Jordan Love played an extremely good game. Josh Jacobs, I think the big thing was he looked fresh. I know he got banged up a couple times throughout the game, but he looked like he had fresh legs, and just kind of funny coming off of a big game from Emmanuel Wilson where they just rode him to the ground of, how many touches. He barely saw the field, snap wise and touch wise in this game. But Josh Jacobs was so good. But yeah, Dontavian Wicks, got to talk about it. Did we see this coming? I mean, I think almost all of us wrote him off to the most part of just him being injured, and he's had some drops. And then he just pulls this out of nowhere. We're beating man-to-man coverage, making some tough, contested catches. The touchdowns were impressive. Obviously, the fourth down catch to put the game away. Obviously, a huge bright spot. Is it just a one-game right matchup thing, or do you think this is maybe things to come where maybe gets him a little confidence, and get to be a bigger part of this offense moving forward here for the final stretch?
Who knows if it's just a one game thing? I hope it's not. I mean, clearly we've seen his talent on display ever since basically he got there and being able to create separation and whatnot. It was just the drops that were hampering him, particularly like the last year or so. But I mean, he's clearly talented. Like, throw him the ball and good things are gonna happen more often than not.
Yeah, his release has always been his thing, and he primarily played in the slot with all the injuries they had, so I think that's where he probably belongs. Now, when Jaden Reed or Matthew Golden or whatever the hell they want to do there, I don't know if that's going to mess that up, but I mean, he's not a great speed guy, so like an outside wide receiver isn't really his thing, but that's where he's kind of fallen when Jaden Reed's been there, so we'll be interested to see how that goes. As Jaden Reed is, I don't know, I would assume he's playing this week. So yeah, yeah, who knows? I don't know what LaFleur is gonna do, especially with guys coming back. Jaden Reed probably back, like you just said. Matthew Golden should be healthy. I don't know. He has everybody. This is the first week where, since like week 1 or 2 or whenever the hell Jaden Reed got hurt, where like besides they obviously don't have Tucker Kraft, but like receiver room wise, this is the healthiest. This is the first time because Christian Watson didn't play. So yes, I have no fucking clue. So I'm just gonna say that, no fucking clue. Now that I think about it, this is the first time where he's got all 4 of his top receivers. So I've no idea. Who knows what they're gonna do?
Are we to the point in the LaFleur game plan where Luke Musgraves gets one shot, 20+ yards downfield? Are we to that point back-to-back weeks now? Had the pass interference call on that opening drive against the Vikings, and then had a 22, 23 yarder. Is he kind of figuring out how to use them, even if it is just 1 or 2 targets a game? Is he, hey, maybe this guy can be split out, or maybe be a mismatch in some capacity, and try to get him the ball down the field instead of short and over the middle? Or do we think we're to that point, or just kind of maybe just a weird coincidence that it's happened back-to-back weeks?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. But I mean, whoever knows? Like, we've seen him take the deep shot here the last couple weeks to Musgrave, but now we talk about it, and this coming week he's going to throw him a little 2-yard out in the flat, and he'll just fall down, and I don't know, he'll play like 5 snaps or something. Like, who knows? Who knows? You can't ever, once you think they got something on, it's always going to turn into something else. So who knows?
I pray to God he looks somewhat competent when he goes deep. I know his ball skills aren't great, but they're a lot better down the field than they are like over the middle or like the short routes, because he just doesn't have it in him to catch the ball, make an athletic turn, and yak anything after catch or after contact. That seems to just be completely missing from his repertoire, or whatever you want to call it. But down the field, he does have some size, he does have some speed, and some success these back-to-back weeks. Again, I'm not saying let's get this dude in the game plan and get him all these targets, but it seems like it could be maybe 1 or 2 potential plays a game that could at least keep the defense honest in some capacity because, yeah, obviously they don't respect anything like tight end wise, 3-point stance wise right now on this team. Like you can just tell how the defenses are playing them. But again, all these wide receivers are coming back healthy. Maybe that will kind of limit the usage. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting now of we've been just harping on him. Like that's the only way to use Luke Musgrave. And it took him all the way to week 12, week 13 to kind of take some shots downfield with them, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I was impressed. I'll give Matt LaFleur. I mean, I think his two best games so far have been the Lions games, and like you said, if that's a coincidence because of the vision or just I don't know what it was, but he was excellent, I think, in both games, and I think that's kind of the blueprint of how you have success moving forward here and in the playoffs, kind of like that, be aggressive and get that lead for the defense that you talked about.
Speaking of tight ends, really quickly, I know this is only one play, but did you see that? I think it's Wiley when he chipped, I don't kind of chipped or whatever. Aiden Hutchinson, he just flew down like 2 gaps down the line. That was great.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's go to defense real quick before we go to this week's Lambeau lines. Isaiah McDuffie, back-to-back weeks now with solid performances filling in for Quay. But what's that kind of do, you think, with the linebacking core? I mean, I would have to think it's still Quay's job when he gets back, but it has to feel good that McDuffie can kind of fill in that role if needed, or maybe, throw some like different looks potentially at some point if you ever do like 3 true linebackers. I know they do sometimes, but he's held his own. I think he's held his own against the run. I mean, the Packers' run defense these last couple weeks has been fairly good, and they're going to have an extremely tough test, I know, this upcoming weekend. But yeah, I thought McDuffie looked good. Obviously, the big loss, and I don't know if Mike's going to get to it, is Devontae Wyatt. Like someone, obviously that's going to be a huge hole to fill interior there and see which guys do step up or maybe some of the younger guys. But yeah, you both mentioned you were a little disappointed in the defense at times. Was that kind of your main takeaway, kind of like almost a normal game from this defense where they seem to be good at the beginning and close out the game, but towards the middle maybe a little shaky and giving up some easy drives or some easy easy points and not getting after the quarterback? Is that kind of where we're at right now after this game as well?
Like I said before, Micah Parsons just has like no help. Like they're moving around doing the stuff on the inside, and like that's all to like set up 1-on-1s in the outside, but it doesn't matter if Rashawn Gary or Anek Barre or like Van Ness is back, but he got banged up, and who the hell knows what he's doing. Or Sorrell gets a couple of reps again. I don't know. So somebody in the edge needs to step up. You already brought up Devontae Wyatt. That's a huge loss in the inside. Pass rush wise, by far the best pass rushing defensive tackle. Maybe they'll move Van Ness in there for some reps on 3rd and long. I don't know what they're going to do, but somebody needs to step up besides Micah Parsons pass rush wise, or if he's going to start Hafley's going to start dialing up more blitzes. I don't know, but that, to me, that's the issue. Is we can do all this stuff we want with Micah Parsons, but like if he's going to get doubled or tripled, like obviously everybody else is a 1-on-1. It's like somebody has to fucking win at some point in time. It's like I think we're on the territory, whereas if Rashawn Gary doesn't start doing anything, like this is his last year as a Packer, like they're not going to pay him $20 whatever million a year again next year to fucking not do anything, getting a single block the entire game. And he's like, I texted you guys during the game, and I won the one. He's fucking terrible against the run too. Like he's like so like laterally slow right now for some reason. I get Gibbs a freak, like the freakiest freak or whatever, but like he ran one outside zone, and like Gary had outside leverage, and like still like didn't even like. I just don't know how you can even I don't know. It was just, this is a bad look for him lately, and he's just not doing anything in the run game, pass rush game. So somebody else needs to step up. Like I said earlier, I think Anek Barre is clearly the number 2 right now. So hopefully he continues to develop. And I saw Cox is entering his 21-day window. He showed flashes in his career, so I don't know how healthy or how he'll be when he gets back. Maybe he can do something.
Yeah, you mentioned Ekbar. He's been very good against the run. There's been a handful of second and third and shorts where we see him making plays in the backfield. So I mean, he's also making the case, making it tough to keep him off the field at the moment, especially how good he has been against the run compared to you mentioned Rashawn Gary. But anything else to add on the defense? Otherwise. We'll get to the Bears here in a little bit, but if that's kind of all we have breaking down that game, let's go to this week's Lambeau lines with Mike.
Yeah, we'll stick with the defense first since we were kind of just talking about it. The loss of Devontae Wyatt means what?
Some guys are gonna have to step up. I think. I mean, that's you mentioned that especially in the pass rush wise. I mean, he's probably been our second best pass rusher outside of Micah Parsons, like Riley mentioned. So I don't know if that means more tick for some of the younger guys that haven't been getting a ton of snaps, especially when you have the Bears twice, who obviously like to run the football a lot, and that's kind of what their whole offense goes off of. And you play them twice here in the next 3 weeks, so I don't know if you do see some Nazir Stackhouse snaps potentially. I don't know. I know Carl Brooks has been banged up, so maybe we can get him back. But yeah, I don't think you replace him with one guy. It definitely is going to have to be a couple of guys, and just going to have to step up and kind of fill that void because that one sucks. I mean, that's probably one of the what 3 or 4 guys you probably didn't want to lose for the season on that side. I think that's super important with how he's played this year when he has been healthy. So yeah, that one's going to be tough. But yeah, some players are going to have to step up. Otherwise, yeah, it could be a lot of the same, especially on third down with no interior pressure whatsoever, unless Micah Parsons just keeps fucking lining up there every single play, I guess. But
Yeah, so I'd just build off what Collin said. I think it means like we're just gonna see what we got in those 2 rookies, like Stackhouse and Brinson. Like they're 3 and 4, like that's all we got. Like they're probably the 2 better ones against the run. And the way the schedule is lining up here, you got the Bears twice, you have the Ravens. So yeah, I don't. We got to see what the rookies got. We're gonna find out if they can hang or not, and they should be somewhat fresh. They have not played much all year, so they have that going for them. They're hungry. They're Georgia guys. They're not gonna give a shit. They're just gonna play. But we'll see if they can hang.
Right. So the Packers released wide receiver Will Shepherd today. Does that mean his release means Jaden Reed is going to play this week? True or false?
True.
I would say true, and I'm sure it's going to be a typical like very limited fashion, and maybe just punt return, and some limited snaps and limited like personnel. I don't know if you throw him back into it. I mean, like I said, Romeo Doubs is like he's freaking catching the ball and not fumbling at the moment. But my God, does he look like uncomfortable back there of like how he catches the punt and just like no explosiveness, no awareness. Like I would think Jaden Reed's got at least a little bit of a burst to him. So yeah, I would think he'd have to be back. But again, it's probably going to be maybe similar to like what Christian Watson did his first game back. And granted, like that was still like what, like 50% of the snaps or something, or close to 60 that Christian Watson played like in his first game back. But yeah, I would hope he didn't think he'd have to be back just with all like the teasers he's been putting out as well.
All right. Last one here. So Ben Johnson said earlier today that they've been winning kind of in spite of their passing game. With that being said, Caleb Williams will throw how many interceptions this week?
0. The fucking Packers DBs don't catch the fucking ball regardless if it hits him in the hand or not. So I would say 0. He doesn't. I don't know. Actually, I'll say 1. I think the Packers get a lead, and it forces them to actually throw a little bit. So I'll say 1 just because they'll be trailing.
That's what I was gonna go with 0, the 0 to 1 range. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's kind of limited or taken away at least like the really stupid plays that he was making his rookie season. But again, if they are playing from behind and he has to force some stuff, I think there is going to be some opportunities. But yeah, like we've seen this year, like we're not getting those interceptions and turning them over. But I'll say 1. because I do. I don't know. I for some reason think they're going to be playing with the lead into the second half, and I think the Bears are going to have to kind of force it in the air and have to rely on him to make some plays. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think McKinney gets one this week.
Love it. Would love it.
Yep.
All right. This
There you
week's
go.
Lambeau Lines. All right. Well, let's talk about this game a little bit more. The implications now of it. I would have never have guessed 5 or 6 weeks ago that at any point this season the Bears would be on top of the NFC. The NFC. We're talking about the entire NFC, let alone the NFC North. They are currently tied with the Rams with the best record, but because of tiebreakers, they are currently the number 1 seed. So a lot on the line. I know, yes, they play 2 times here in the next 3 weeks, so nothing's going to be decided. Nothing's going to be decided this week, but first place of the NFC is on the line, and I would have to imagine the Packers' playoff odds with a win would go up even more than what they are right now. I think they're probably like in the 80s or flirting with the low 90s, but a win over the Bears and staying undefeated in the NFC North and taking over that lead would have to make you feel pretty good. But let's talk about this Bears team. Are we officially on board that maybe they are for real in some capacity? Or do you still think that they have been riding this luck train week after week with, beating the teams that they should have beat? And obviously these last 2 wins were against teams with winning records. I know the Steelers are 500 right now, but the Eagles, I would say they just dominated that game start to finish, which was a little surprising. But are we finally like officially on board this Bears team that they are a legitimate threat to the NFC North and potentially a team to watch out for in the playoffs? Or where is our stance on them right now?
I've said all year that I think they're frauds. Unfortunately, I think I might be wrong. I think I think they are real. Like at some point, you're not lucky anymore. Like you're actually good. When you reel off that many wins. They are kind of a feast or famine team, particularly on defense. So you got to win the turnover battle. So you can I think you can get them if you don't turn the ball over at all. So
Yeah, I think just their run game and their ability to they even cause turnovers. Like they're just ball hawks. Like it is what it is. Like they're actually making plays. But yeah, I think they can be had on defense. I think you can run the ball on them. I don't think they're super great in their front seven, especially with how banged up their linebackers are. Offensively, I don't know. I also because their run game, what they did last week, it's the Eagles' defensive scheme is very similar to what the Packers do. So it'll be interesting to see how Halfley counters all those different types of whams that Ben Johnson was doing last week, because his interior front four just penetrating and flying upfield is exactly what Ben Johnson wants based on what he showed last week. So it actually might be a benefit, like I said before, with Stackhouse and Brinson maybe having to play more. They do have to play more and step up. Like their style, how they played at Georgia, actually like tweaks maybe with what they would do. So it actually might help the Packers because their technique and how they play is different than Brooks and Wooden and how Wyatt played. But we'll see. Just gotta stop the run, make Caleb Williams beat you. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what Halfley does and what scheme he's gonna. I would assume you're gonna see something funky out of the Packers defense this week. I don't think he's just gonna sit in a 4-3 like you can after what you saw last week in the style you played. Like you're gonna get just fucking rolled, just like the Eagles did with what he did in their interior offensive line. And obviously the Packers interior defensive line is nowhere near what the Eagles interior defensive line is, especially without Devontae Wyatt now. So yeah, I don't know. I would assume you might see a variation of a five, like the McDuffie or Hopper, or whoever the hell's out there walks up, or you might literally see a true version of like a 3-4, and Van Ness is going to get more snaps as like the third interior defensive lineman. You might see Stackhouse go to a true nose, 0, just to like fuck with the Bears scheme. Because yeah, like I've said 3 times here in the last 2 minutes. Like Ben Johnson against the penetrating 4-3. He's got the run game fucking dialed up.
Hey, Dad, Mike.
No.
All right. Okay, well, we will get to who we think is going to win that game later on in the final drive. And before we get to 3-and-out, want to zoom out a little bit, look at the rest of the NFC North, and in particular, just the Lions. Where are we at with the Lions right now? They're on the outside looking in. Would you almost call this upcoming game against the Cowboys? I believe is it Thursday Night Football, right? This upcoming Thursday Night Football. What would you almost think?
Must win.
Would you
Must
think
win.
must win? Would you say loser of that game is, in all intents and purposes, is eliminated, and the winner is still going to be in the hunt? Is that where we're at with this game, with a surging Cowboys team that's playing really well on offense, obviously, and improving on defense? But yeah, the Lions. I'm around St. Brown might be out, battling that injury during the Packers game, and they're just a little clunky on defense right now as well. So we're saying must win game, and the loser potentially, in all intents and purposes, eliminated.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, because I don't think they're gonna pass the Packers or the Bears at this point for the division. So then you're looking at the wild card, and then if you lose to the Cowboys, you already lost your tiebreaker to them. Plus, you got the Niners ahead of you for the last wild card. So yeah, basically, if you win, you still have a chance, and if you lose, then you're really fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, there's too many good teams. The NFC, the top of it's stacked. Yeah, the build off the Lions are just reeling right now, and like they're not walking into a good matchup this week with how hot the Cowboys are. Injuries and offense. Laporta's still out. Who knows if St. Brown's going to be able to play or not? The interior offensive line. I thought they were getting their old center back. Turns out they're not. I don't even know how that was. I don't get how that was even a thing. How do you have a grade 3 hamstring? Like you can't even you can barely walk with a grade. Like how did he? I don't understand. Like they just thought they were going to shoot him up and he was just going to fucking play. That doesn't even make any sense. That's how much of a shit show it is, and like if that just shows how much like lack of trust that Dan Campbell like even entertained that. Like there's no way that wasn't communicated. Like my hamstrings like pulled, coach. Like he's like, you just try it. Like fuck, that's just telling you how much Dan Campbell does not think of his interior three. They're going up against the Cowboys now that arguably has maybe top 2 or 3 like rotations of defense. Like 3 studs. Like Iggy they have. I'm not gonna try to say his last name. Kenny Clark and the guy they just traded for, Williams. So like they have 3 stud. Like they're gonna fucking eat the Lions. Like I don't know if the Lions are gonna be able to run the ball. Like so without any, I just don't know what the Lions are gonna do. Like it's gonna have to be just home run shots to Jamison Williams, but then the Cowboys just activated Trayvon Diggs, so he might I don't know. It's just this would be a game the Lions somehow probably fucking win, but like all signs point to the Cowboys. Like I don't know how the Cowboys lose this game with how hot they are, and like all the weaknesses the Lions have are now strengths of the Cowboys. So yeah, I mean the Packers, Christian Watson exposed man to coverage against the Lions last week. That's what CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, pretty good against man coverage. So yeah, just building on. I just don't know how the Lions win this game. Like I said, they probably fucking will somehow, but like all signs point to like this is favoring the Cowboys in every aspect.
Okay. And just what we all expected, the Panthers taking down the Rams, right? I think everyone had that on their boards. Truly a week-to-week league in the NFL, is it not? I mean, that's what we've keep seeing week after week, that there's a couple of these games come up. But for all intents and purposes for the Packers, kind of love to see it because the number 1 seed in the NFC is back within reach. So we will pick those games later in the final drive. But it is time for this week's 3 and Out. And I'm going to get it started here on first down. We're going to shift over to college football. If I steal it from you guys, sorry, think of another one. It is Conference Championship Week in college football. Some big ranked games. just for, seeding purposes for the college football playoff, potentially some teams playing to get in. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at the full conference championship slate. It can be all the way from Conference USA or Sun Belt all the way to the Big Ten. But is there any conference championship game that stands out to you that you are most excited about in terms of matchup, or just most intrigued of what it could mean, or just what it is on paper when you look at the full slate of games this upcoming weekend?
Definitely Kennesaw State versus Jacksonville State. That's,
The
uh,
the 9-3 and 8-4 teams, yeah.
uh, I'll just be really interested in watching Indiana versus Ohio State to see if Indiana can hold their own with Ohio State. Um, I think those teams are going to be 1 and 2 no matter what, right? It's just going to depend on who wins. Like, um, I don't know. Indiana's going to have I feel like a large contingent of fans there with the game being in Indianapolis, and Ohio State fans are going to travel too. So that place is going to be rocking on Saturday night. Hopefully that's a really good close ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that game, Ohio State, Indiana. I don't know how the fuck game day is not there. I get it's Georgia, Bama, but Jesus, like it's in Indianapolis, Indiana. Columbus is fucking 3 hours away. Do you have any idea how fucking insane that environment's going to be in Indianapolis? Like, I'd love just to be a fly on the wall there. It's going to be fucking chaotic. They're fucking ESPN for that sucks. I love ESPN, but like, that's the biggest fuck. Like, I've bitched about like where game day is going a few times this year, but like, I don't know. If 1 versus 2, like, home fucking state and a team 3 hours away, that's like the most known college. I don't understand. Um, that's number one. Number two for me, I mean, got to watch Tulane Friday night. Florida's next head coach. So I'm just jumping on the fucking wave. See what he's got. Like him so far. That was gonna be my 3 and out. So if you want me to jump into that fucking thing, I'm all into this guy, John Summerall. Nobody knows this except for Collin, but he literally is a college version of like what my dad was as a high school coach. So for me, like I'm all in on that. Like, so if anybody wants me to compare that, he's like a college version of fucking Dan Campbell. So I'm all in on it. Like he's just a fucking motivator, hard ass. Like he just cares about football. Sounds like a dipshit half the time, but you can just tell he's like that's all he thinks about is football. It's kind of funny some of the stuff he's saying all the right things. No, by this time next week, he'll have both of his coordinators hired, I'm assuming. So I might completely change my mind and fucking want to jump off a fucking bridge already. But he keeps riding the momentum that he is right now with how he's sounding and everything. And they just said he's got over, they said the staff salary, whatever, is 16.3 million. He's only getting 7.5. So like they have $9 million just to like hire like coordinate. Like that's a fucking lot of like they can pay their offensive defense coordinator like $2 or $3 million. Like they're gonna. He's not the top. He's not the highest paid head coach in the country, obviously, but they pay their coordinators $2 or $3 million. That's going to be like top 5 on both sides of the ball coordinator pay. So he's going to go out and get big names. Or at least he's saying he's going to, and he's got the fucking money to, and fill in the rest. So, all the big name studs that Florida has, the young guys, the running back that just rushed for 250, the 2 freshman stud receivers, Lagway, I don't fucking know how I feel about him because Napier was such a dipshit call. I don't know what he is, but they're like, have already all said after today, like after his press conference, they've all met with him and they're literally they've all said they're staying. So, I mean, shit could change, but there's no negative about him like, yet. So, like I said, we'll see after these coordinators get hired this week. I might change my mind, might piss me off, but that's my thing right now. I'm really high on him.
Real quick, I don't know, Mike, that was our second down. Mike, I don't know if you're in college football as well. Just if you had to say in one sentence, Lane Kiffin going to LSU, of how do you think that's going to go, or what that kind of means? How would you just like quickly summarize that, either of you? What do you think of Lane Kiffin going to LSU and just kind of how the whole exit? I think there was there was Ole Miss fans at the airport, like basically tell him to fuck off when he was getting on the airplane and giving him the bird when he was leaving. He's not coaching any of the college football playoff if they get in or when they get in. So he is all at LSU right now. Just real quick, what do you think of that hire and what do you think he could do there?
I wish he would have stayed at Ole Miss. Like, I think he could have like had that program as a perennial power in the SEC, and who knows what they're going to be now without him. I think LSU is going to be probably just fine with him there, with especially with like the talent that they bring in every year. But I think it would have been cool if he would have stayed at Ole Miss.
And Dad Riley, fuck Lane Kiffin.
I mean, I don't know just how it all played out. I'm kind of happy it ended up in Florida. I mean, he's a great offensive mind. He's gonna get recruits. I don't know. I mean, he has to win. Like it's to lose 2 or 3 games next year. It's gonna, I don't know, fucking, it's gonna be a shit show, and he'll just say fuck this and leave. That's just what he's showing. So he's not gonna. Yeah, LSU can fucking act all tough and shit and whatever, but if you don't think Lane Kiffin will bail if he gets too much shit after 1 year, like they're fucking wrong. So I like Lane Kiffin, whether he succeeds there or not. I don't really care. I think this is gonna blow up in LSU's face if it doesn't go well more than as well. Lane Kiffin, he'll just get hired by somebody to be an OC and then just run it back and restart like he fucking did already once. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I just all potential to blow up in LSU's face, and I don't like LSU, so I'm all for that. But I don't mind Lane Kiffin.
All right, there you
No matter how his time there ends, whether it's by his decision or theirs, you can almost guarantee it'll end in flames. It's going to burn to the ground no matter what.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. And it seems like that everywhere he's gone, that's kind of been he's been on headlines or a lot of eyes on him in the social media age. But all right, let's go to third down to Mike. Third down, all yours.
All right. I want to say, can we get rid of halftime shows for these Thanksgiving games? Like, save the halftime shows purely for the Super Bowl. We don't need them for these like special Thanksgiving games, Christmas games. Jack White, the guy who did halftime at the Packers-Lions game, like I thought he sucked. I don't even know who he is, but I thought he was terrible. I didn't even watch was it Post Malone that did the halftime of the Cowboys game? I'm guessing it probably wasn't that great either. So I'm just tired of these stupid halftime shows for these Thanksgiving games. Save it for the Super Bowl. That's my rant.
Yeah, they never sound good either. They always as good as they maybe sound in studio or some songs, they always sound like shit too. And like you can barely ever understand them because they talk really close to the mic. And yeah, I'm not sure how many people in America that are watching football are big Post Malone fans. I know the Thanksgiving I was at was not a ton of them, but yeah, it's tough. I guess you gotta kill that time, but yeah, I don't get it either. I think it's been a lot more misses than hits over the years with that kind of performances. But
And I like Eminem, and I know he came on stage like for part of it, but by that point I was already tuned out. Like Jack White sucks. I don't even know who he is.
you heard it here, NFL. Stop doing the shit. Save it for the Super Bowl. No one wants to hear it. All right. We would rather be going for seconds or thirds during that 15, 20-minute break than listen to that on Thanksgiving. So, all right. Well, that's this week's 3 and Out, all in the football landscape. We'll see. We'll see how that kind of all plays out with the conference championships in college football, and some of these new hires. But let's go to this week's final drive. It's the final drive segment. Pick'em games. We have 5 games to do this week. But before we get to that, Mike's going to give us a little update and recap from week 13 of where we're sitting on the standings.
All right, both of you had good weeks last week. Both of you went 4-1. I went 2-3. So it puts Riley back in the lead at 38, 28, and 1. I'm a game behind at 37, 29, and 1. Collin, good week for you, keeping you in the hunt. You're only 2 games back of me, 3 behind Riley at 35, 31, and 1.
Yeah, gonna have to stack some of these to keep climbing climbing slowly but surely. But yeah, all right. Well, here we go. We got Week 14 coming up, and like I said, there's going to be 3 NFC North games. Of course, the Packers play the Bears, and then our lock, and then our upset as well. So, just like last week, we're going to save the Packers for the end of the NFC North games. We talked about this one a little bit and broke it down of both teams' status, but now we're actually going to pick it. A red-hot Cowboys team that at one point they were 3-5-1. They are now 6-5-1, winners of 3 straight, which includes over the Chiefs and the Eagles in a span of like 4 days, I believe, or 4 or 5 days, something like that. And the Lions team just really looking for any sort of win and to get back on track and into the playoff picture. So we'll start with you, Riley. Cowboys, Lions, ultimately, who ends up winning this one?
Lions are favored also, by the way, which is going to play into I'm going to double up on this one. I talked about everything I said about the Cowboys before, and that was why I was so the Lions will somehow win this game, because I am picking the Cowboys, and I'm also picking them as my upset. For everything I said before, interior defensive line will eat. Dak's hot. Is 2 stud receivers that excel against man-to-man coverage. That's what the Lions do. Lions have no weapons that are healthy, and yeah, it's just like I said. Somehow Lions will fucking win this game, but like they just with how down they are, how hot the Cowboys are, all the matchups I just said. The Cowboys the Cowboys are going to win this game. That's just how I feel.
All right, Riley doubles up. Mike, what do you got in this matchup this week?
Yeah, copy and paste everything Riley just said. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one, too. I can't believe the Lions are favored right now.
All right, well, that's a clean sweep. I have Cowboys over the Lions. Like I said, the NFL is such a week-to-week and depends when you play a team on the schedule, and this is just an awful time for the Lions to play the Cowboys. Like, even if they want to get in a shootout, I just don't think you can get in the shootout with the Cowboys with how good that offense is playing and what their weapons are. So, yeah, I think this potentially could get into the upper 20s and 30s, but I have the Cowboys over the Lions as well. A tough one. 2 teams just desperately looking for wins. I'm talking about the Commanders and the Vikings. Who is going to start for quarterback at the Vikings? We don't know. Who's going to start at quarterback for the Commanders? We don't know. So that's the fun part of picking this game. We'll start with you, Mike. Not knowing who either starting quarterback's going to be, who do you got in this one?
I'm taking the Commanders in this one. They took the Broncos to overtime last night. I have more faith in whoever their quarterback is versus whoever the Vikings quarterback is. So I'm taking the Commanders in this one.
Riley.
Yeah, I literally at school today when I was going through these, I literally had a kid just pick for me, a girl actually that has no fucking clue about anything football related, and she said Vikings, so Vikings is my pick.
Okay. There we go. Maybe that's why he's currently at top of the standings. I'm going to agree with Mike. I think the Commanders over the Vikings. Yeah, Mariota, which, by the way, absolutely hate how Chris Collinsworth says Marcus Mariota's name. He, emphasizes the T, big time. It just drove me crazy last night, big time for Sunday Night Football. He's like, Mariota. But I think Terry McLaurin coming back, I think raises this offense a little bit. And we saw some glimpses of healthy Terry McLaurin. Yeah, the Vikings are just not good right now. Just got absolutely dominated by the Seahawks in every single facet. So I'm going to go Commanders in that one. So that takes us to the rivalry, the battle for first place in the NFC North here at Lambeau Field. Got flexed from a noon game to the 3:25 game. I'm assuming is going to be the Fox game of the week, probably with Tom Brady and the crew. Packers, Bears, I'll get the party started. And let me be honest with you, I went back and forth on this multiple times. I don't know why, but the Bears just terrify me in this matchup right now with how they're running the ball. But with that being said, I'm still going to pick the Packers because I have just a little bit of optimism that Matt LaFleur is going to keep the momentum that we saw this past week. And if Riley talked about earlier in this episode of having a full slate of healthy wide receivers potentially. I'm going to look at it as hopefully no more Malik Heath and Bo Melton, and any minimal snap when you have all these weapons that they're just going to keep rotating them in and out because they can play inside and outside, a lot of them. Josh Jacobs looked good. I think the offensive line is playing better than it has in the last like month or two. And it's at home. I think that's the big thing. It's at home. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I think, yes, there'll be some Bears fans there, but I think just because it's at Lambeau, that's why I'm leaning to go Packers over the Bears in this first matchup here in Week 14.
I can't believe the Packers are 6.5-point favorites.
Surprised me a little bit
right now. That seems like a lot. This was a tough one for me too. I feel like Matt LaFleur. I think he was asked about, does he have any like ideas of like revenge or something? I don't even know exactly how the question was phrased, but about Ben Johnson throwing a little shade to him this offseason. Matt LaFleur said he didn't even think about it or whatever. I don't believe him at all. And that almost kind of scares me that he might try to like one up him or get a little cute at some point in this game. But I think he really, really wants it for that reason. So I'm taking the Packers this week.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers as well, just because like I totally can't pick the Bears in this. Yeah, like Mike said, the 6.5. I don't know what the fuck the sports books knows or what they're looking at that we don't, but yeah, they just got to shut down the run. I don't know how they do that. Like I talked about, if Haley's going to mix up his scheme. I don't think Ozzy Trapilo, or whatever the fuck you say his last name, left tackle. Like if they get him in passing situations, like I just don't know how the fuck he's going to handle Micah Parsons. He's not. So that's the matchup that the Packers can exploit. So yeah, LaFleur seems to dial it up against division teams. Like I said, don't know what they're going to do with all 5 receivers healthy. Who knows? Run game does look better though. So yeah, I'm just gonna Toyota Thun, Jordan Love. Let's just fucking jump on the train and just keep riding it, I guess.
Damn right. Toyota Thon is still on. So it's just crazy. Just crazy the coincidence of the stretches of play over Toyota Thon the last few years. But all right, well, those are our NFC North games. Riley picked his upset of the week. So me and Mike will do ours. Mike, I will get it started. Yeah, I thought about Cowboys over Lions as well, but I thought maybe one of you would. This one I feel pretty good about. Again, I think the Texans defense is probably the best in the league, if not one of the best 3 units in the league. And the Chiefs, I don't know. I know they're still alive, but I think they're dead. I mean, they got to pretty much win out. They got some tough games remaining here. So I'm going to take the Texans over the Chiefs as my upset this week. I think I looked this morning, the Chiefs were -3.5. I don't know. I just think it's not a good matchup for him. Like the Texans pass rush against a banged up Chiefs offensive line. I think they're going to cause hell for Patrick Mahomes. And I think the offense is just going to struggle to put up points and sustain drives. So Texans, all of a sudden, they're back in that race for the AFC South. And I would not be shocked. I mean, that's coming down to 3 teams now. It's going to be very interesting, I think, how that plays out these final 4 or 5 weeks. So I have the Texans over the Chiefs in my upset.
Same here. I went with the Texans for the same reasons as you, Collin. That's my underdog.
All right, there we go. Let's go to our lock. Riley, we'll start with you. Who is your lock of the week?
All right, so don't know how much I like this. Obviously, have not used this team. They haven't lost in a couple weeks. They're wasn't pretty last week, but they have not, like I said, they haven't lost in a while. Division game. And they're playing the Jets. Now the Jets beat the Falcons last year, but I don't know. I think the Falcons, they're about ready to fucking blow their entire building up. So don't know if that matters. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Jets. Dolphins are my lock over the Jets.
Okay, I like it. All right, I will go next. My philosophy earlier this season, I think I did it for like the first 3, maybe 4 games. I'd have to look. Was just to pick everyone against the Saints. It's been a while since I picked a team against the Saints, but I was surprised that I did not pick the Buccaneers yet this year. So my lock of the week is going to be the Bucks over the Saints. I know the Saints have looked better and been a little bit more competitive, but the Bucks are starting to get healthy. Bucky Irving was back. Chris Godwin got some snaps. Apparently, Mike Evans could return soon too. So this could be a team maybe that could recatch and rekindle some things and get going a little bit. So I got Bucks, and I would not be surprised. I think it was -8.5. They might cover that as well. Like I could see it being a double-digit win potentially too.
All right. So it's getting harder and harder to pick these teams as we've all picked the really good teams down the stretch here. It always kind of terrifies me to pick against a team that's lost like 7 in a row because you feel like at some point they're just going to slip their way into one. However, with that being said, I'm taking the Browns this week as my lock over the Titans.
Okay.
It's getting hard for me to pick these locks, man. I've used up all the good teams. Like I said, I lost 7 in a row. Huh?
Shador, baby. He's going to get you a dub.
Yeah. The Titans have lost 7 in a row. I feel like they're going to get at least one more before the season's done, but I don't think it comes against the Browns defense this week. So I'm taking the Browns as my lock.
There's a good chance that Myles Garrett has like another 3 or 4 sacks in this game too.
I hope so.
I would not be surprised. Dude is just ridiculous. But okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, locks are getting fun. Wow. Dolphins and Browns.
Yeah.
We'll see. Either going to be a really good week or it could be a very interesting week or both. We'll see kind of how it plays out. But yeah, the standings are heating up a little bit. Getting a little closer. I've finally got my head out of my ass and put together a couple good weeks here to get back in the thick of things. But yeah, 5 weeks remaining. We'll kind of see how that plays out. No comments this week, so make sure in these upcoming episodes, make sure to throw a comment either on Spotify, YouTube. Heck, shoot us a text. We don't care if you're scared if we're going to judge you on Spotify or YouTube. We might, but hey, that's the fun of it. So just shoot us a text and we can discuss that if you have any hot take or question over the air for those of you who listen every single week. Before we get out of here, how was your Thanksgivings? Did you pig out? Was the food fantastic? Got the victory as well on Thursday. Had to be a pretty overall good day. Hopefully just outside of football with the eating and then also the Packers kind of getting it started there at noon. But how was your guys' Thanksgivings?
Thanksgiving was good, dude. A lot of good food. Obviously, the Packers win. I completely way too much. I woke up with a stomach ache at about 2:30 in the morning. So yeah, that's how good it was.
Yeah, same. A lot of good food. Packers winning, obviously, just ruled the day for me personally. No complaints. Everybody just chilled. Didn't have the mic situation. I kind of know better now with all my dieting I've done what I can handle. So I limited myself. Wish I could have had more, but I came out healthy and pain free.
Yeah, I had a little surprise for Hannah's family's Thanksgiving. Took Jello shots to all the family. Some green Jello shots that I had that we ripped right before the game. So had that going. A couple brewskis, and yeah, I only had one plate of food during Thanksgiving as well, of just like the normal stuff. So that's usually very uncharacteristic like of me, but yeah, delicious as always. Mashed potatoes and gravy just took up about half of my plate, I think, and then stacked everything around it. But well, we hope everyone else had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, one of the Packers, for as frustrating as they potentially have been this year, they seem to play well on Thanksgiving. Is that three straight wins on Thanksgiving now? And especially all in the Jordan Love era as well. So that certainly helps with that. Any final thoughts outside of football? We've talked a lot of football in this episode with college football, halftime shows, NFL. Any other closing thoughts? I know Riley's probably going to talk about the World Cup draw is this Friday, I believe, right? That we'll find out all the groups and then the fate of Team USA that host the World Cup next year on the men's side. So that'll be interesting. I'll just throw it out here and live with you guys. Hey, Aston Villa, baby, top 4 in the table. We thought they were dead earlier this season. Guess what? They're not. They're playing pretty good right now. And all of a sudden, I think they're in it. They're in the mix to get in the Champions League next year. So, anything else outside of football or soccer?
Yeah, on that note, so Arsenal played to a draw with Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea lost a player to a red card at the 38th minute yesterday. That's a bad draw, right? Like,
Yeah,
you have to win when you're down a man or when you're up a man.
100%. That's when
But even though Chelsea's a pretty good team, right?
Yeah.
Like, you still have to win that game.
100%. Yeah, that's when the draw feels more like the loss, for sure. Yeah, that's always frustrating. But they're still at the top of the table, so at least you still got a point
5
on it.
points clear.
If they would have lost, then that would have been not good if they would have lost points. But all right, anything from you, Riley? What's your prediction?
I wish Bournemouth wouldn't fucking play in a rainstorm every week, so they could actually like not slip and give up easy like that's how they fucking give up like every goal the last 2 weeks. It's whatever. Yeah, the draw this week. We'll see. We'll see how optimistic
Any predictions?
you and me both are. I don't know. Not really. I don't.
In terms of like group of death, average, or
Oh, no.
they'll be very like good draw. Where do you think they fall?
They'll have a very good to average job because they're a host country. So like they'll be put in like with the top team. So like they only will realistically have like one other good team with them, and then twos that are very like they should play for first or second. Like they just should. Like it'll be a disappointment. Whatever. Like my biggest fear is they get one of these fucking African countries as like the third team, like the first lower tier team. Because, like, those fucking, they're so athletic and they just play so wide open. And USA does not handle that well usually or typically. They never have in history. Maybe they can with Poch. I don't really know. But that is my fear. That is, if I see, like, fucking Ghana or Nigeria or fucking, whatever. That's going to be where my heart drops. And it's like, fuck, we're not going to make it out of the group. So if the third team is an African nation, you'll see a depressed, ranting, pissed off, everything combined Riley about soccer next week.
All right. Well, looking forward to Friday's draw and see how that plays out. But all right, well, let's get out of here, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Dairyland Drive podcast. Keep sharing, giving reviews every week of however you listen to your podcast on Spotify or Apple, or if you're on the YouTube channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. I think this is the 40th episode. We just did 39 last week, so if my math is correct, this will be the 40th episode that we've done. We're itching closer to 50, so awesome stuff. We have a bunch of fun doing this every week, so yeah, keep listening and like I said, keep commenting. We want to hear from you each and every week. Packers related, honestly, it doesn't matter. We could use some questions in the 3 and Out as well if it's outside the NFL or just in general. We want to hear from the listeners. So as always, Collin, Mike, and Riley, once again, thanks for listening. We will see you next episode.
Go Pack, go.